Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Big Donch Show. Today, I'm joined by Bill Hutchinson, who's currently a professional boxer and a lawyer. I wanted to get Bill on the show because I've been following him for quite some time now and found it pretty amazing that someone can juggle two different careers. So thank you, Bill, for joining me today. I really appreciate you having you on today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it, and I'm excited to be here.
Good. So, I've followed you since your last fight. You were back in June against Adrian Broner. So just tell me what that experience was like and what has life been since then? Are you looking to get back in the ring anytime soon?
Yeah, absolutely. So first and foremost, it was a pretty amazing opportunity that I couldn't pass up. I thought it was kind of interesting. My work life at that time prior to that offer and opportunity were pretty crazy. So I wasn't really in the gym at that time. I wasn't really thinking that that was going to be something that was in the pipeline. I had heard about him signing with Don King, and I knew that I could get lines of communication to there. Me and my team had some prior dealings with Don King and his people, doing some shows in Pittsburgh, actually, with some of his fighters, where I'm originally from. So I kind of had put some feelers out there, had my team reach out to let them know that we would be available if the opportunity came up. But realistically, you never know that that's going to amount to anything. And then once it became apparent that that was a real possibility, I obviously got my butt in the gym and we started a camp. So that's kind of how that came about and went down. And from there, um, we certainly have gained a lot of notoriety. Most people tuned into that fight and kind of seen how it all went down. And I certainly was not going to go away easily, and I think that people understood that after the fact.
Well, that's glad to hear. So, what are you doing now? Do you have anything lined up for this year now that it's a new year, new year?
Absolutely. I had been kind of looking for the right opportunity towards the end of last year. Nothing obviously materialized that was kind of worth note. I'm really not interested in doing anything that isn't either high profile or could it be a prelude to something high profile. I'm not really just going to take anything, if you will. So that would have to mean something, or at minimum, be a prelude to something meaningful. So I'm actively in negotiations with quite a few different opportunities all around the world, really. So it's just about finding the right fit and making it make sense. In addition to that, I would also be interested in potentially doing something on my own or with some trusted advisors back in my hometown in Pittsburgh next, just to kind of have a homecoming of sorts, and with something that would make sense to prelude into another major event.
So yeah, going off that, you're a lawyer. So I just want to talk about I want to bring in because I worked in the law office during the summer, during college. I'm also an amateur boxer myself who's pursuing professional career. So that's why I just think it's cool, people who pursue boxing, which obviously is a dangerous sport. Usually professionals, they go after golf, other sports and great sports that, but usually never boxing, right? Usually boxing at the blue collar job. So I'm just curious, how do you balance being a lawyer and professional boxer? Are you training now? Like, how do you balance being a lawyer and, obviously, like I just said, a professional boxer?
Yeah, so obviously training is a very important and necessary component to that. But I am training every day, at least once a day, most days twice a day. To your point, it's creates and necessitates a lot of discipline, right? Because that means long hours, it means long days. But that's nothing that I'm not used to. Um, it's really just about discipline. It's about being willing to be up early and then to get to work early, and getting it in each and every day. But it's honestly become so habitual that I don't mind it. I actually quite enjoy it. And that's what I think has created the longevity of my career. And I think that's what has created my ability to uh, take these opportunities, which is what they are, opportunities, right? It's me being in a position and staying in a position to grab these opportunities with both hands. When a Adrian Broner fight opportunity calls, I'm able to answer that phone and say yes. And that's what kind of separates me from somebody who may just be in their full-time profession outside of the ring and not staying ready. I like to stay ready to obtain these opportunities as they come. A lot of people will say that I'm lucky, or people are lucky in being able to have some of these opportunities that come their way. Well, this isn't just some magical thing that occurs. It's a lot of hard work without the guarantee that these opportunities ever come. Right? You have to be able to say yes and be prepared to mean it and perform at the drop of a hat. So there's really not much luck involved, and it's much more just very unsexy hard work. you know
Yeah.
uh it's not a pretty thing sometimes to just consistently be working hard with absolutely no guarantee of it ever paying off.
So just take me back like a little bit to your start of your career. Like, so how did you get involved in boxing? Then why did you just want to pursue, a law career?
So I originally started boxing way back when, 20 over 20 years ago, really. I had my first amateur fight at 13. And so I've been in and around the game for a long time. I didn't have a very extensive amateur career as it relates to bouts in the ring sanctioned, but I was in and around the game, training, sparring with prominent amateur and professional boxers. I was in the gym sparring with grown men as a teenager. So I was constantly testing myself and trying to get better. And then I think that the transition from that into the legal field is a little more natural than you might think in my sense, because for me it was only a difference of physical or mental competition, right? So in the legal field, you have an intellectual competition, an intellectual battle occurring over a situation or dispute. Whereas in the ring, you have a physical battle over competition or dispute, right? So for me, it was very natural with my personality and willingness to engage in battle, be it physical or mental, or even with myself. Challenging myself, battling with myself, overcoming my own perceived limitations or anything of the sort. So at least for me, it was very natural.
So what you're saying is, boxing and, your legal career, they go hand in hand, right? They help each other. They complement each other, you'd say.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I know that doesn't sound common, or it isn't common, but it really does. There are a lot of crossover, a lot of analogous situations that I've come across in my life, and for me, in my life and my experiences, that has come very naturally.
So I know you said you try to train at least once a day. Just tell me a little bit about like a typical day in the life. So, I don't know if you own your own like law firm, your own practice or something like that. So just, tell me what a day in the life is, both with your actual job and then actually training.
So I do have my own firm, licensed to practice in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and the state of Florida. And I mainly and really focus on the civil side of things. So I'm doing a few civil cases right now for a few clients, some litigation, but a lot of my practice is focused on consulting with different businesses, allowing them to grow strategically and to be prepared as they do experience that exponential growth that we strive to achieve for them, making sure all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed as they kind of ramp up and grow. Um, so that's kind of my area of focus at the moment. I have quite a few large clients that I do that for, and I have quite a few small clients that are hoping to be those big clients one day, and that's what I'm here to help them achieve. So that's all well and good. Um, However, that doesn't really have a 9 to 5 ring to it, does it? So it's all the time. I'm always on. I'm always on my computer, always on my phone, whatever the case may be. So to answer your question about a schedule, it's very fluid. So all that really means to answer your question is that I'm up around 5 a.m. every day, and I try my best to be resting, if you will, at the earliest practical time, but that's not always the case. But it's very fluid. It's very dictative by client needs, and they are very spontaneous and erratic as that goes. So I am where I need to be. I just try my best to get my first workout in as early as possible, with some uh, time to recover in between the next workout. I like to get at least 4 to 6 hours in between my two workouts so that I can have some type of recovery and refuel. But it doesn't always happen that way.
Yeah, that's the one thing I like about individual sports. I usually play team sports all through high school football, and also you have a set schedule with the team. You have to attend these things. The thing I like about individual sport about boxing is, yeah, you got to compete every day, but you could adjust it basically to your own schedule. And that's the thing. You don't need a coach, you don't need a team every single training session. You know what I mean? You could just go running and go hit some bags. So that's the one thing I like about an individual sport like boxing. So, um,
With
just
that said, though, I will say that I have been very blessed with an amazing team and support system around me that allow me the luxury of being able to have top notch training, almost indicative to my schedule. We do our best to align and to coordinate and communicate at a high level and to do the best that we can. But not everyone has that luxury. I must point out that I'm very blessed in that area. I have a tremendous team around me that support me and help me to achieve the individual achievements that I'm able to do in the boxing ring. But it is very much a team.
so what advice would you just give to people who are pursuing the boxing career, but also have a professional career? Because obviously boxing, like I said, it just usually has that blue collar background. So usually a lot of people like who take a professional career, they don't really go down this route. So, how would you just give any advice or any experience you'd say to somebody who is trying to do that?
Wear headgear with a face guard so that you don't have to go into court or meetings with a black eye or marks on your face. That I learned that the hard way. I
Yeah,
hate that.
I
Hate
wear the
that
nose
bar.
guard. I wear
Yeah,
it.
I hate that thing. I hate it.
Yeah,
You can't really see uppercuts. It's a pain in the butt.
yeah.
It's visually impairing, but very helpful for meeting or Zooms where your face needs to be seen and you don't look all busted up and look like you were just in a bar fight coming off all unprofessional. So that's my advice number one. Get yourself a headgear with a full face headgear with at least the bar to protect you from looking like a hooligan.
I
Uh,
agree with that. Yeah.
After that, I would say that you just need to have discipline. Discipline is so, so important because it's very easy after a stressful day to not feel like going to train. It's very easy to not feel like getting up early and getting that training session in, but you have to. And so you're not always going to have that motivation. Motivation comes and goes. So it's really easy when you have something on the books or when you have a Broner fight coming up and you know that you have that motivation, you have that carrot that you're chasing after. But that's not reality 99% of the time. That's a rare thing to have that type of motivation, or at minimum, it comes and goes. So it's the discipline to do it when you don't want to do it, and you know, have the right headgear.
Right. I agree. So last question I have for you is just, when you look back at your boxing career, when it's all said and done, what do you hope to have accomplished? Everybody likes to say titles and things like that, but what do you really wish when you're retired, you're done everything that you're happy and you wish you accomplished in the sport of boxing?
I think that I would want people to say that he went about it the right way. He wasn't afraid to fight anybody. Uh, he left it all out there. He never quit. I've never been down, even though I probably should have been. I just think that I've always left it all out there. I've always kept it in the back of my mind to be entertaining. I don't think I've ever been in a boring fight in my life, even when it might have behooved me. I think that people pay their hard-earned money to come and watch us perform and fight, and that's what we are there to do, is to entertain them. I think that this fantasy world of just getting the W, you're not going to be remembered for the right reasons. I get it, I understand it, especially in boxing, where that undefeated record can become so important, even though in the grand scheme of things, it's the wrong way to look at it, in my opinion. And I think we're seeing that change more recently. So I'm hoping that trend continues. Making the right fights happen, making the big fights happen, the interesting fights, the challenging fights, making that all happen is important. But for me, and what I'd like to be remembered for, I'd like, all of the things that I already mentioned, and just that I left it all out there, and was entertaining to watch.
Well, Bill, I really appreciate talking to you today. I had a good time learning about your career, learning about you. I really appreciate that once again. So, yeah, I'm gonna make sure everybody watching, make sure you check out his career, check out his law firm, give him some business. Yeah, I appreciate everybody watching. I'm out, guys. Peace.